At 3 a.m. just outside Moscow, two men are sitting in the cab of a beat-up timber truck staring at a tablet screen. Their hands are resting on a detonator. If they are caught, they will simply vanish into the basement of the FSB. But if they press that button, they will blind the entire Russian military in less than 3 minutes. The margin for error is 0. And the countdown started 48 hours ago at the Belarusian border. Just 2 days ago, this truck was rolling through a checkpoint driven by these two deep cover operatives posing as tired long-haul truckers. Inside the vehicle were 12 drones carefully concealed beneath fruit crates. The target is Tu-214R, tail number RA64514. This isn't just a plane, it is a flying supercomputer. It is loaded with the MRK-411 phased array radar and sensors that can intercept radio signals from 250 miles away. It is one of only 2 in existence. It is the Eye of Sauron for the Russian military, worth an estimated $200 million. It is one of only 2 in existence. The mission parameters are simple but terrifying. They must destroy this plane before the sun comes up, not just to embarrass the Kremlin, but for a critical strategic reason. This attack is merely the blinding jab. They need to gouge out Russia's eye to clear the way for a second. Even more devastating strike team that is currently waiting in the shadows, 800 miles to the east, ready to drive a stake through the heart of the Russian tank industry at Nizhny Tagil, 03:03 a.m. 12 FPV drones are skimming the treetops at 60 miles per hour, moving with a synchronized, terrifying silence. They aren't relying on GPS, which the Russians are jamming heavily around the capital. Instead, they are using AI terrain matching, scanning the ground features in real time and comparing them to satellite maps stored on their hard drives. They are flying blind to the electronic world, but perfectly sighted to the physical one. Inside the perimeter of Chkalovsky airbase, the war feels very far away. A Russian sentry flicks a cigarette butt onto the tarmac, watching the sparks die in the cold night air. The radar dish of the Pantsir S1 battery spins lazily. It's a quiet shift. Suddenly the trap springs. 3 of the drones break formation. They pitch up violently, climbing from the radar shadow of the trees up to 500 feet. Their software instantly changes their flight profile, emitting a specific electronic noise to simulate the heat and radar signature of a much larger threat. The Pantsir S1 wakes up instantly. Its gravestone radar locks onto the 3 intruders. The automated system screams a warning. Threat detected. 2 57E6 missiles tear off the launch rails, accelerating to Mach 4 in a fraction of a second. They intercept the decoys mid-air. 3 fireballs bloom against the dark sky. The plastic drones disintegrate like cheap party favors. Inside the command vehicle, the Russian operator laughs, keying his radio. Target scratched, just some junk from the locals. The crew relaxes. They begin the slow process of reloading the launch tubes, high-fiving each other for their quick reaction. They have no idea that they just wasted specialized interceptors on flying bait, and in doing so, they just exposed their own position to the 9 killers still hugging the grass. 03:05 a.m. The real execution begins. The 9 remaining drones drop to just 10 feet off the deck and throttle up to 100 miles per hour. On the remote operator's screen, the video feed shakes violently as the lightweight frames fight against the air resistance, but the flight path remains steady. Inside the cab of the timber truck, the agent bites his lip, watching the telemetry data on the hidden tablet as the blue icons cross into the terminal zone. The Pantsir crew, realizing too late that the first wave was just a distraction, scrambles to re-engage. With their missile tubes empty or useless at such short range, the gunners frantically switch to the dual 30mm autocannons. A wall of tungsten tears through the air, shredding 2 of the attacking drones instantly. But trying to hit the remaining 7 small, fast-moving targets with a heavy cannon designed for aircraft is a losing battle against probability. The surviving drones pitch down, converting their forward velocity into a terminal dive. They aren't targeting the cockpit or the engines. They are aiming for the most expensive components on the tarmac, the canoe-shaped fairings under the fuselage that house the MRK-411 radar arrays. The first drone impacts the forward sensor pod. The 7-pound shape-charge warhead detonates, punching a neat hole through the composite skin and injecting a jet of molten copper directly into the delicate server racks inside. The remaining drones strike the fuselage in rapid succession, functioning like a coordinated firing squad. There is no cinematic fireball immediately, just the catastrophic destruction of internal electronics. However, as the shape charges rupture the aircraft's hydraulic lines, the fluid sprays onto the superheated avionics. A secondary explosion rips through the belly of the aircraft, engulfing the radar array in flames. The delicate phased array antennas capable of intercepting radio signals from Warsaw melt into useless slag. The all-seeing eye of the Russian military is officially blind, burning on the tarmac like a $200 million torch. 03:08 a.m. The confirmation of the kill travels faster than the speed of sound. An encrypted data packet, labeled simply "blind confirmed," streaks across a secure satellite uplink. It bypasses the chaotic Russian military frequencies now flooding with panic and arrives instantly on a tablet screen 870 miles to the east. In the frozen industrial city of Nizhny Tagil, the heart of Russia's tank manufacturing, the second sleeper cell wakes up. Parked in the shadows of a derelict warehouse district, just a few miles from the Uralvagonzavod factory, sits a second timber truck. It had crossed the border just 24 hours prior, driven by 2 more deep cover operatives using the exact same logistical camouflage as the team in Moscow. The Russian security services, obsessed with looking for high-tech NATO spies, never bothered to look twice at tired truck drivers hauling wood to the Urals. Upon receiving the digital handshake, the operatives waste no time. The roof of the second container slides back, revealing a larger, more menacing payload. 18 FPV drones launch into the darkened sky. These units are heavier, modified for longer range, and carrying payloads specifically designed to crack armor plating. A fresh drone operator, sitting in a bunker far away from his colleague who just blinded the spy plane, takes control of the swarm. He sees the target area through 18 different camera feeds. This is the brilliance of the synchronized strike. In Moscow, the Russian Central Command is currently in a state of absolute paralysis, trying to understand how their most advanced spy plane just caught fire. The chain of command is fractured, communications are jammed with screaming officers, and situational awareness has collapsed. They are so focused on the wound in the capital that they fail to realize the knife is already at the throat of their war industry. No general alert has been issued to the provinces. The tank factory is sleeping, completely unaware that the cover of darkness has just been stripped away. 3:15 a.m. The Uralvagonzavod facility sprawls across 200,000 square feet, a behemoth of industrial might that churns out T-90M tanks and is currently dissecting a captured Leopard 2A6. Through the high-definition lenses of the approaching swarm, the factory looks like a fortress of steel and smoke. But even fortresses have blind spots. The defenses here are formidable on paper. A mix of Pantsir S-1 and Tor M1 missile systems ring the perimeter designed to create an impenetrable dome over Russia's most critical production line. As the Ukrainian drones break the horizon, the automated defense grid finally detects the intrusion. Missiles streak upward, painting the sky with smoke trails. The Russian air defense network, alert and aggressive, scores early hits. 6 of the lead drones disappear in flashes of fire, intercepted before they can even breach the outer wall. The factory's sirens begin to wail and searchlights sweep the sky in a frantic strobe-like dance. Ground troops scramble from their barracks, shouldering man pads and firing small arms into the air in a desperate attempt to create a wall of lead. But the Ukrainian attack plan anticipated this resistance. 5 of the remaining drones in the formation are actually advanced decoys, programmed to mimic the heat signature of much larger attack aircraft. They pitch up, climbing aggressively to draw the attention of the fire control radars. The Pantsir systems, programmed to prioritize the biggest threat, take the bait. The turrets swivel, tracking the decoys and expending precious missiles on cheap fiberglass targets. While the Russian batteries are distracted chasing ghosts and reloading their empty tubes, the real kill team, 13 heavy-lift drones carrying tandem heat warheads, slips through the gap in the coverage. They dive low, skimming over the rooftops of the administrative buildings, using the factory's own infrastructure to mask their approach. They barrel toward the main assembly hall, where the prized Western technology lies exposed for reverse engineering. The Iron Dome has been cracked and the swarm is now inside the wire. 03:18 a.m. Just as the swarm lines up for the final strike, the Russian defenses play their ace. The Pol-21 electronic warfare system surges to life, flooding the local spectrum with high-power noise. It is a blanket jamming attack designed to sever the invisible tether between the drones and the GPS satellites orbiting above. On the operator's screen, the positioning data vanishes instantly. 4 of the drones, flying on the fringes of the formation, succumb to the electronic fog, drifting off course and crashing harmlessly into the factory parking lot. But the remaining 9 units do not falter. The Ukrainians had anticipated this exact countermeasure. The drones automatically switch protocols, engaging their inertial navigation systems backed by optical terrain matching. They are no longer flying by satellite, they are flying by memory and sight, comparing the shapes of the industrial vents and skylights below to the 3D maps stored on their internal chips. You can jam a radio signal, but you cannot jam the laws of physics or the optical reality of a target. With the local Pantsir battery now completely empty and the electronic shield failing to stop the visual approach, the assembly hall is defenseless. Through the camera feed, the interior of the factory comes into sharp focus. There, sitting like a trophy on a dissection table, is the captured Leopard 2A6, surrounded by dismantled T-90M hulls and racks of volatile components. The swarm dives. The lead drones strike the roof of the assembly hall, their tandem heat warheads punching through the corrugated steel like it is wet cardboard. The primary charges clear the path, allowing the secondary charges to inject jets of superheated copper into the facility's gut. A shockwave with 500 psi of overpressure rips through the enclosed space, expanding faster than the structure can fail. The roof lifts off its supports. The captured Leopard 2A6, the prize that Russian engineers were desperate to reverse engineer, is crushed under tons of collapsing steel and incinerated by the fireball. The surrounding T-9DM assembly line is twisted into an unrecognizable sculpture of melted industrial ambition. Miles away, the operative posing as the truck driver watches the orange glow illuminate the night sky above Nizhny Tagil. He permits himself a brief, grim smile. The jackpot has been hit. Inside the burning factory, the Russian commander stands amidst the ruin, watching the future of his tank division turn to ash, realizing that the war has just arrived at his assembly line.